Hi, I'm Becky. Welcome back to Sinner and Friends. This is the second episode. Seeing if this is going to work. Had a few views, probably my family, but that's good. I rewatched the video that I posted, and it just looked really boring in the kitchen with the green cabinets behind me. So I figured I moved to the living room. It's a little more interesting in here, and put my hair down because I look like a boring nun, which that's fine. Nuns are good. Today I wanted to talk about, actually it's just one verse, and it's the next verse. We read Matthew chapter 3, verses 1 to 3. And today I would just want to read verse 4. Only one verse. And here, I'll read it first, and then we'll go into it a little bit. I got my app up here. No, I didn't find my Bible yet. Okay. Matthew chapter 3, verse 4. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair and a leathern girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey. Yeah, so I bet you're wondering, how are we going to talk about that? What does that have to do with anything? Well, the way that I think of it, I think God put every single word in the Bible for a reason. And even though this one verse sounds pretty boring, I think this verse holds a lot of meaning. And you might disagree with me, which is good. I want you to disagree with me or agree with me, and post it in the comments so we can talk about it. But anyway, I read the New International Version. Of course, this is the King James Version. The New International Version basically just told me that raiment is a leather belt. So John has a leather belt, and his girdle is made of camel's hair. So he has a leather belt, and his loincloth was made of camel's hair. So we know that's what John has when he went out to baptize people. And then for his food, he has meat, or his meat was locusts and wild honey. Okay, so that's what John has. God wanted us to know John the Baptist had these 4 things: a belt, a loincloth, and to eat he had locusts and wild honey. I don't think that's very much. I don't think that John charged money to baptize people. I don't think John had any money to spend on himself. He probably got his locusts and wild honey just from walking along on the road. I think God is trying to point out here that you don't need much while you're living in this world. You don't need it. Some people have it, some people don't. But a lot of people think that you have to have wonderful things to be happy. Or, you have to have a pair of Nike shoes to fit in with the crowd. Or, you have to have this dress that your friend wore so you could wear it to a wedding that you're going to. Or, you think you have to have these things in order to be happy, or in order to be happy in one moment of your life. But I think God is trying to point out to us in this verse that you don't have to have those things in order to be happy. Which then made me think about, okay, well, if you have, people want to have money so they can buy, their fancy things and to be happy. And then it reminded me of the verse in the Bible where it says that, I can't tell you what book or verse it is, but I do know the Bible says that it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle. So that's pretty hard for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. So basically God is saying, if you're rich, you're not going to have a good chance of getting into heaven. And my husband, who believes in God, but, doesn't know the Bible very much, and, doesn't study the Bible, neither do I. This is the first time I've actually, tried to study it. So, anyway, we were watching, he likes that Larry David show, And I'm sorry, but Larry David just really gets on my nerves. My husband loves that guy. He thinks he's so funny. Well, what it is Larry David is a rich person who lives, I don't know, I guess it's California, where a lot of rich people live, and probably a lot of poor people too. But and it's about him and his wife and his life and his friends that he has, and all of his friends are rich, and he's rich, and they do nothing. Like, they walk around on the road talking and about this, I think, the dumbest things. I don't know if it's that dumb or not, but it's just really, and then it made me think, okay, is this what rich people do? The people that don't have to work, that have a lot of money in the bank, who buy everything that they want, so they don't want anything, because if they want something, they just go and get it. Is this what rich people do? Just talk about other people, and that's really what they were doing. Talking about if somebody fell in a garbage can one morning, then that lived on their street, or that somebody knew, a rich person, then that's what they were going to talk about that whole day. Him and his wife and whoever else, whatever friend they knew, that's what they would talk about that day. Just because Joe fell in his garbage can that morning. Ha ha. That really doesn't seem like a life to me. I don't know. If I have money, I would travel. I would, like to see the world and see what all is out there. But I don't know. Maybe rich people do travel. I don't know. Hopefully some do. But anyway, it just reminded me of this verse, because he's, the rich people in the world. I don't think many of them have religion in their life, and if they do, it's not with the Holy Bible, and maybe it's the correct religion. I don't think it is, but some people do think that Christian Science or whatever that is out there is the truth, but I don't. Anyway, they just seem really bored. Rich people seem really, really bored. And not that I'm never bored. I am poor. But I really wouldn't say that I'm bored. I can always find something to do when it's not talking about other people. It's, reading classics, or researching an idea, or talking to my children, or talking to my mom, about enriching things. So anyway, that's what that one verse reminded me of. And I said in the other episode, that I would look up the questions that I asked. The one question that I had thought of was, I asked, is swearing a sin? And I think, yes, swearing is a sin, even though the Ten Commandment, the 10 Commandment says, thou shalt not say the Lord's name in vain. Okay, so yeah, that would definitely be a sin. But what about all the other words? Is it a sin to say those words? And I believe it is. And I didn't look up Ephesians 4:29, but it does say in that verse, Ephesians 4:29, to do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. And it does go on. So that would make me think that unwholesome could probably mean swearing. There are other people who are going to say, well, why would swearing be considered unwholesome? That's just what I think. That's my opinion. Swearing would be unwholesome. You can argue that with me if you want. That'd be great. And the other question was, does God want us to feel pressured to keep his 10 Commandments? Does he want us to feel that pressure? And my son asked that question to me, or told me that he felt pressure. And I was trying to explain to him that he shouldn't feel pressure, because God's giving his forgiveness so easily to you that, if you sin, you just ask for forgiveness and he'll give it to you. And I just typed that in, exactly that, into Google search, and there was a really good person talking about when he used to be an atheist and how easy it was, because now he's a Christian. And now he knows that when he was an atheist, there was all these things in his life that God didn't want to be there. And he commented on how easy it was to be an atheist. And then he went on and said that God does not demand perfection. He knows that we can't be perfect. And another good point that he made was that if Jesus thought that we could be perfect, then why did he come here on earth and die for us? So, even though we have to try to be as good and perfect as we can, he knows that we can't. So we ask for forgiveness when we need to, but we shouldn't feel pressured to follow those 10 commandments, because it is a lot. And especially to be human, you can't do good all the time, 24/7. But we can try, and that's all that we can do. And I guess that's all I have for today. So let me know what you think about things. I guess I didn't really pose any questions for today, so who knows what tomorrow's episode will be about. All right, thanks for watching.